ourselves in a good position in terms of trying to provide some resistance and then being connected and being in terms of just on rotations and anticipating where our teammates were going to be. I thought we did a good job at the start.
Mitch, Vic had 16 of his 39 in the fourth quarter, played with 5 fouls. Did you feel like this is just one of those games that he wasn't going to let you guys lose?
He definitely made some big plays. I don't know if I had that good of a feeling, but I thought he really imposed himself on the game, and I thought he established himself dominating the paint and the rim on both ends. And when he does that, it kind of feels like then everything opens up for himself and his teammates. And then he still gets some shots on the perimeter. He gets some closeouts. He gets the gravity in terms of, teams are trying to be physical with him, of course. And so, there's a lot of bang-bang plays there, and he should get rewarded for some of them. And I thought he did a good job of playing through that contact and not expecting calls or trying to get them, and just met the physicality with proper execution.
When he picks up the fifth foul, 6:18 ago, is there an internal dialogue as to whether you should get him out, leave him in, or are you arguing with yourself at that point? It's just a no-brainer.
It's a valid question. We put Luke in there, and part of it also was he played, I believe, for maybe almost 12 straight game minutes or something like that. And so, again, for what we ask of these guys, it's tough for them to play those stretches and then still expect the pace and the activity and the physicality that we demand. And so I thought Luke did a good job in terms of giving us a minute. And sometimes that minute, or just, letting the guy catch his breath, it may not show itself in the box score, even the plus minus, but if that allows him to come finish the game properly and appropriately, then that goes into part of our philosophy and game plan. But I thought we were going to not leave any bullets in the chamber in terms of keeping him on the bench. We were going to play him, and then if he fouled out, we deal that when we got to it.
Speaking of physicality, what do you make of the Gortat screens, I guess, of just pushing Wemby away from the rim when you guys are on defense?
It's a logical philosophy. I don't know. Yeah, it's been around for a while. Gortat's been out of league for a while, so it's nothing new. Some teams are good at it. Rudy's been doing it for a while, and he's good at it. And there's a lot of things where you can be physical and try to add on a little physicality on top of it in appropriate ways, and that's part of the game. I think there's been more questionable stuff than that, but the Gortat screens those are taught now in development. So I think it's a game plan for some of their downhill drives and what Gobert's good at. It makes sense, and we were expecting that.
As grinded your way back into it, what did you see in the fourth quarter that just couldn't allow you to get over the hump there?
Some defensive game plan mistakes hurt us. We missed some open shots for sure, and then we just fouled a little bit too much. So just gave them enough of the breathing room that they needed. So.
In terms of the game plan mistakes, what were you seeing in the matchups? How are they losing track of those things?
It was just bad routes. Rudy decides to go under on the flare screen. That was a 3. Pull in on the pick and roll over help, gave up a 3 in the corner. Just a lot of little things like that. Just weren't on point when they needed to be. So.
What did you think of what Ant gave you tonight?
Oh, he was awesome. He was great. And then it was good. He needed that, we needed that, and he's been battling back to find a game like this, and it couldn't have come at a better time. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the result that went along with it. But
you found your offense with the drive and kick game. Was that kind of the plan leaning into it going in?
Well, that's what the plan has been kind of all series. But I think today we finally had an understanding of what that felt like. So,
Chris, 0 for 12 to start the night. Was that just a matter of missing shots, or?
Some of it was. Some missed some open threes. I thought we took a bunch of kind of challenged runners in the paint, and when we did have a clean layup, we didn't finish very well. or at all. So, but guys did a good job, kept guarding, kept making the game about defense, and we were able to claw our way back into it.
Did Julius's foul trouble in third quarter kind of maybe mess up some of the rotations and smaller lineups you were getting to against Wemby in the first half, or kind of how did you?
Yeah, it certainly hurt. It certainly hurt us a bit. Kind of shortened up the rotation here once those guys found a rhythm of playing. So when you do that and then you get foul trouble, it kind of really puts you behind. So,
just generally, Chris, with that non-Rudy lineup, do you feel like that's really a weapon for you in this series?
I thought the Rudy lineup's been okay too. So it all depends. I think it's kind of piece by piece, depending on what's going on in the game.
I guess the better way to put that would be: do you need to have kind of multiple faces in this?
Sure. We've got to be able to guard. We can't expect one person to play 48 minutes and guard them the whole time. So we got to be able to do different things and be able to, give them different looks, that kind of thing. So,
Coach, we seem that we kind of struggled all game to get a stop. Can you hear me?
I missed the beginning of your.
I said, it seemed that we struggled to get a stop the entire game. What adjustments do we need to make, both offensively and defensively, to even out the series?
Well, I kind of disagree. I don't think we struggled to get stops. I think timely stops maybe, but not all game. I thought the game was shooting percentages were pretty low. They had a hot third quarter. That's really kind of where a lot of these shooting percentages that they have may have been elevated. I think they had 6 or 7 threes in the third quarter. So that was about transition, getting matched up early. And as far as adjustments, we'll continue to look at the tape and make those and go forward. But,
Chris, I'm not sure I've seen players hold a referee back from their head coach before.
Pretty unprofessional, huh?
Well, could just kind of tell us
I wanted the timeout.
Yeah.
And I had called it 3 seconds earlier, and I wanted the timeout, and I said I want my 3 seconds back. And so, and because he clearly heard me, he looked my way, ignored me, went on with the play, and then gave me the almost cost us a turnover. And then he lost it. Then I went to ask him where the ball was going to be taken in, and he was screamed at me for that. So completely unprofessional behavior by him.
Chris, the second chance points really kind of kept the boat afloat early in the fourth. Is that kind of a path you see just to consistent success in this series, what you guys can do on the offensive glass?
Yeah, absolutely. There's pathways to go to it, so you got to exploit those.
Chris, TJ only had 5 points, but not plus 19. Just what did you see from him defensively, and just the lift that he gave you off the bench?
Yeah, he was huge coming in when we made that run, fight back in. I think a lot of it was right there, but he played great, and I probably should have gone with him down the stretch. Give us another handler alongside Ant. So.
Chris, how much did you feel like just emotions and frustrations affected the outcome and performance tonight?
Not too much. I was more about execution. So, thank you.
All right, always interesting to hear the coach's perspective. Thankfully, we have our coach's perspective. And when you look at the Timberwolves, what positives can they draw from this, despite letting the game really get away from them there?
It was tit for tat there for a while. I think you got to make sure you get off the great starts.
Yeah.
That's especially at home. You can't mess around with your starts. But most of it, I think they played how they wanted to play. Like, they played physical, they were aggressive, they were attacking. Ant had a great game. It's just Spurs are good.
Right.
Let's just be real about it. And Wemby had an incredible, historic. We look at the names you talked about, the type of game that he had. And so, a lot of it does come down to just making shots. They had a few open looks. You do have to make shots to win these close games. Wemby made his.
Yeah.
And Coach said he pointed out the mistakes they made. You can't go under a flare on Wemby. You got to chase over that.
Over top.
But that's the problem. Fives aren't used to guarding flares. You couldn't deal with no flare when you was playing, man. You would have went under too.
No, I was going over, man. I got Steph Curry. You talking about the worst defenders ever. I know you wrong guy, man. You talking about Channing Frye. My boy,
You threw him under the bus. Channing got thrown. Hey, Channing, you just got thrown under the bus.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
These puppies move like some guards, man.
I hear you, man. But, like, you know, he's not used to that.
Fives aren't used to it.
Like, Rudy's not used to guarding that kind of situation, you know. And Wemby, he plays like a guard in those situations. And so those are big mistakes when when you're in a game that's close.
Yeah, it's rough. We'll see more and hear more in just a little bit. We've got two stars going at it tonight, Wemby and Ant.